FNC.
News Talk 640 WFNC. I tell you, they don't make shows like that anymore. You know, it's okay. But when those songs came on and the TV shows were on, people like KIRK deVIERE was there.
Book 'em, KIRK.
Book 'em, Kurt. KIRK, how are you today, sir?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing
Day
well.
out, the weather's nice.
Yes, it
It's
is.
a good day. You need to hit the golf course today.
I am.
Oh, there you go.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, I'm going to throw my clubs in there. I'm going to find me a place. We got tournaments coming up. I'm not going to be able to play this Saturday because I'm doing something with the Shaw University folks.
Me as
But-
well. I'll see you there.
Yeah, are you really?
Of course. Every
Yes.
year.
Well, I'm DJing, and the band we've all volunteered to see what we can do to help out, and so we're going to be there, and we'll see you there up at Bunch Road. What is the recreation center up there? I can't think of that. I always think
Fuller Rec.
Fuller. It's Fuller. What a great facility that is. All right, we're going to deal
Shaw
with.
does a great job every year.
Well, look, I want to start.
Scholarship banquets, give back to our youth. Just a great job. Actually, I believe Sheila Cuffey is the in charge of it this
She
year.
is.
And Laura Hardy has done it for many years, and she's the president of the alumni chapter
Well,
now, and they do a great job and really give back to our youth and our community.
And that's how I think we had Sheila Cuffey in here. We were interviewing her about it, and then Adolph and Adolph's with the band. Of course, I got my thing, and we said we'll do it for you. And so now they got a great speaker, one of the best DJs in the whole wide world, and a fantastic band.
Great person bringing greetings from the county. I mean,
That's good. That's a good one.
it's getting pretty thick in here this morning, Joe.
Yeah. Hey, Kenny, I got you up
I mean,
on
but
the screen
after
here.
that commercial we just heard, I mean, we need to.
Well,
loosen
Kenny
it up
was-
a little bit. I'm just kidding. I don't want to talk about the commercial.
I don't know.
No.
Kenny's the hit man. He put some sound effects on your commercial too, make it happen for you. But look, all that aside, Kenny, I'm gonna get you off screen here because Kurt and I's got to talk about something. It's really heartbreaking, but Billy King passed away. Did you know him? I guess
I
you
knew him very well. Worked with him over the years in his elected roles, but also in his community roles, and he was just one of those guys that you always kind of just checked in, had the pulse of the community, pulse of his community, and always had a word for you. You may not like it, but he always had a word for you.
That's exactly right. He was my neighbor in Hillingdale North for many years, lived down the block, and his wife taught some of my children.
24 years on commission.
Yeah. What a great time. We're going to miss him. They do have the arrangements for him that's going to be happening this weekend. The viewing will be June 5th. Yeah, that'll be Friday from 1 to 6. And then the funeral service Saturday, June 6th from 11 a.m., starting at 11 a.m. at Lewis Chapel Missionary Baptist Church on Rayford Road. So
Our board approved a proclamation the other night in his honor, and just want to pay respects to his family and during this time.
Well, and again,
And friends.
everyone that knew Billy, we our prayers go out to his surviving family. There's a lot of folks in there that's on the obituary that to show you who he survived by and everything like that. All right, you come in every week. Was there a meeting yesterday?
We did. We had our morning meeting. This was on Monday that we do our morning meeting, and it was really dedicated more to our public hearing. So we had our budget public hearing. Part of the budget process is public hearing, and we actually did two. So we did one at our morning meeting, and then we created an extra special meeting last night at 7 p.m. So give people the opportunity, if they weren't able to get it in the morning because they may be at work, then they were able to come at the 7 o'clock meeting and speak as well. So,
All right, what's the highlight of the budget that is really sticking out at everybody?
I think there's, speakers came and talked about multiple things. We heard everything from nonprofit support, which is a big piece of it. How, we have a piece of our budget that is what we call community support. That's dedicated to some of our core nonprofits that help us fill those gaps in the services that we've supported over the years, and some new ones as well. We heard conversations, around what we're doing with our cost of living adjustments at our employee level, what we're doing with our tax rate, just the overall budget in general, where people think we should put our priorities. We had somebody come talk to us about fundings for schools, which have been a huge priority for us. over last year and this year as well. But it was good. It was good to get feedback. You know, Gilbert, that's how this process is supposed to work. You know, the budget comes out, staffs and departments have been working on it for several months, and the manager releases his version of the budget, which is a draft budget. It's not the final budget. And then the commissioners then walk through our work sessions, and part of that is that public input. And we received that twice yesterday, and then of course we'll get emails and letters, and we're doing coffee with the commissioners tonight down in Wade at 7 o'clock at the Wade Community Center. So we'll continue to do those interactions with the public as we move through the budget process. We've got 4 more budget workshops where we'll go into each part of the budget, ask questions, whether it's, you know, through personnel and comp, whether it's through our debt model, whether it's through how we're funding schools, how we're funding, you know, different programs, you know, how our enterprise funds are set up. So we'll walk through each one of those and let the board ask any questions, get information. You know, if we have something we want to add in or take away, we kind of set it off into a parking lot so we can begin to have those discussions at the end, because it all has to balance out. So right now you've got a balanced budget, but if we try to add something in, then we've got to find the money to do that with. Likewise, if we take something out, then, you know, do we want to look at adjusting the tax rate? Right now, the tax rate is recommended to be flat. So no increase, it'll stay at 49.9. But, you know, I think there's some desire to see if you could, you know, reduce the tax rate. I think it's going to be a challenge to do that. I think in these times we're seeing flat and declining sales tax revenue. We're seeing, you know, just the economy as it is, plus the downward pressures that we're seeing from the federal and states that added about $3.5 million of recurring dollars to our budget that we were not projecting for.
Well, you know, I was going to talk about that because it's very easy for state leaders and federal leaders to say, hey, we're not going to handle that program anymore.
And just pass it up.
And so now you got to come up as, you know, with the magic to say, how do you fill the gap?
But take this into, you know, when you're looking at the budget, so let's just take that $3 million, let's just say round numbers, and then just standard cost increase like your household's facing, that every household is facing. You know, you've got standard increases in insurance and health care for our workers, you know, for our employees, for our team members. You know, you've got, you know, are we going to do a cost of living adjustment so we can keep up with inflation for our workforce? You know, those are just standard things that kind of happen. So that's an increase to your budget already in a time that you're already flat. So you really have to look at efficiencies. And I have to say that, you know, our staff did a good job looking at our priorities and some directions that we gave, and they've done a good job of presenting us a budget that you know, takes those impacts, takes those cost increase that we have with declining revenue, and presents us a balanced budget that now we can work through.
You know, turn my mic back on. When you talk about making things so that people can operate, one thing is childcare, and I know the county is expanding that. And I saw an article. I think the city is trying to tie in, or you guys are working on. Talk about that a little bit.
So at our work session, actually, at our work session next week, our agenda session next week, Assistant Manager Phillips will bring forward a recommendation on our child care center. So we have a child care center. We've got some additional capacity. It's a 4-star center. And so what we're going to do is we're going to look to open that up and invite the city to participate, PwC to participate, and some other members to participate in that as well, and give them the opportunity to be part of that child care center. So it's an important benefit. We know that child care is important in our community for our workforce. You've got to have quality child care systems, and really at the infant stage is really where it's difficult. You know, more so than where we need the capacity than anywhere else. But so yeah, we're looking forward to getting an update on that and moving forward with that program.
Well, you can't go to work if you have to take care of a child at home, or if you can't afford the daycare to take care of a child at home. And so, you know, hats off to both the city and county to help provide that for city and county employees is my understanding how that works.
That's right, and it's not, you know, it's not provided for free, so there's market rate, but we're trying to work with a provider to make sure we keep those costs at, you know, at a market rate or below, so there's some value to the team members, our employees, to do that. But I will tell you, you know, you got to remember that the county organization is just like any other company in a lot of ways. I get we use taxpayer dollars, but, you know, retaining a quality workforce if we want to be able to deliver the level of services that we do in our in our Department of Social Services, in our health departments, in our, in our police, in our IT, in our, in all the places that we touch citizens across, in our library systems, all these places where we touch citizens across our community, you want to have that quality workforce. And just like private companies struggle to retain quality workers, government has the same thing. Yes, we do have, we're funded through taxpayer dollars, but it's still a lot of the same challenges. You've got to have, a strong benefit program. You've got to have a strong compensation program that's competitive. You've got to have, things like childcare, wellness. You've got to have all these different things to be competitive. It's important to retain that quality workforce.
I was just kind of feeling about trying for the past couple of days anyway, looking for news stories. And I get up at 3 in the morning and I'm perusing all types of information to see what's out there. I'm finding that it's a little bit harder to find bad news about Fayetteville and Cumberland County in terms of murders and things like that. We have incidents, but it used to be that I just open up and I got a ton of stuff. Is the county getting safer, or is this? What's your take? What do you feel?
Well, I think we're doing a better job of maybe telling our story and engaging with the press across all mediums, whether it's radio, TV, print, online, digital. Ensuring that we're telling those good news stories as well as the good stuff that's happening, as well as there's always going to be bad stuff that's going to happen. Crime's never going to be totally away. You're always going to have those incidents. But there's, even in those stories, the sheriff, on the county side just had a large, drug interdiction activity that they just had a few weeks ago and even last week as well. And so, there's some positive things that our public safety folks are doing to ensure that our community is safer, that we're interdicting in the areas that we need to interdict when it comes to the drug activity and those types of activities happen in our community. So hats off to the sheriff and his team that are doing that, as well as just the interaction that you see between our sheriff and the municipalities with Fayetteville Police Department, Hope Mills Police Department, Spring Lake, and just others, as well as state level entities, as well as organizations like DEA as well.
Yeah, we've always had collaboration, but I think it's really grown to be expected and welcomed, as opposed to the years gone by, where this is the sheriff's office, this is what we do, this is the police, this is what we do, and you see that those barriers being broken down here to a certain extent.
I think that's important in any aspect, whether we're looking at job growth, whether we're looking at public safety aspect, whether we're looking at health and human services. You have to collaborate, and I'll go even outside of the county. You have to look at regionally. How are we doing things at the regional level to ensure that we're being impactful? I mean, a great example of a regional effort and really a wider effort is what's happening with our Cape Fear River and the ITB, the interbasin transfer. That effort to ensure that we're stopping that has been a great regional effort led by, Public Works Commission and the folks over there with Tim Bryan and Tyler Patton leading that effort across the region. So that's a great example of collaboration.
Well, and I was going to bring that up because the way we've been reporting that story is that we were going to hear something in April, and then here we are in May, and now we are June.
But what's important, and again, now we're hearing they're going to meet in July, but what's important is we keep that, we don't, oh my gosh, you just went away and you turn your attention to something else. The old adage from the military, move to the sound of the gun. We've got to stay focused on those things, and our team and PwC, along with the city communications team and the county communications team, has really stayed focused on making sure we're keeping that in front of us and we don't lose sight of that decision and keeping that pressure and that advocacy at the state level.
All right, you don't want to all of a sudden see, hey, the decision has been made, and this is what we're going to get. We're going to keep the water.
Right. But I think that's important. As you look at leadership across the community, I mean, you have to be able to do that. You just can't be singular focused on, oh my gosh, we're only going to look at what's happening with data centers right now. We got to continue to push on what we're doing with water and sewer, what we're doing in our school systems, what we're doing on development and economic growth in our community, what we're doing in mental health, what we're doing, and there's a lot of different areas, and you have to be able to advance on all of those areas simultaneously in a lot of ways and make steps forward. I mean, that's what the people expect government to do for you.
All right, our Cracker Jack producer,
Give me the hot sign.
he's giving you a 2-minute warning. So I just want to make sure if there's some points you want to drive home here, that we get them in here.
Yeah, no, just again, the budget process. This is one of the heaviest lifts that the county commissions do. It's one of the most important things that we do, prioritizing your tax dollars. We want to make sure that if you want input, I really thought I'd see a lot fuller room last night than we saw. We had some great speakers, but these are your tax dollars. If you didn't get a chance on the public hearing side, make sure you're sending your emails, fill up our inbox, give us a call, write us, whatever mechanism. Come down to our coffee with commissioners. We're going to have a few of them, one tonight in Wade. But make sure your voice is heard around the priority. What's important to you? What do you want to see? What don't you want to see? Because that factors into how we now make decisions from the commissioners as we move forward in this budget process.
And I don't know about you, but I've noticed fewer cars on the road because people are probably being a lot more selective about where they go because of gas prices. But they can watch this process as well.
YouTube, you can go to YouTube. You can see any of the information. You can go on our website, CumberlandCountyNC.gov. You can look at all the budget documents. You can see that information. As I talked about yesterday during the public hearing, this is a difficult budget, downward pressures, flat revenues, but we have to stay focused on growth in our community because, that's how we're going to transition out of tier 1. That's how we're going to see prosperity for our residents, but we have to keep pushing that needle in all these areas and pushing them simultaneously. Although some people will say our board's moving too fast and our op tempo is too high, I will argue and say we're playing a lot of catch up and we're moving very deliberate and thoughtful.
KIRK deVIERE is the chairman of the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners. Coming every Tuesday, about the same time, same bat channel, same bat chain. We'll see you next week.
Sounds good.
All right. You're listening to News Talk 640 WFNC. We've got Fayetteville's most dependable forecast with CBS 17 meteorologist Rachel Dunsing.
Today we'll have clearing skies, eventually turning mostly sunny with a high of 79. Tonight will be mostly clear with a low of 54, and Wednesday will be mostly sunny with a high of 84. Today and tomorrow are going to be seasonal and pleasant.
All right.
And while we're going to stay
Okay,
next
but
week,
yes, sir.
temperatures will
Thank
eventually
you.
warm very
Who you got
quickly
now?
into the middle 90s by the end of the week. That's your favorite
Crime
forecast.
Stoppers and
CBS
stuff.
17 meteorologist
New
Rachel
man.
Dunsing.
New person.
Rachel, thank you so much. You're listening to News Talk 640 WFNC. 64. That's a temperature across the board in Fayetteville, Hope Mills, and also Spring Lake.